Hello dear students, welcome to this class of MA Final English Literature, and today we'll discuss the poet Wallace Stevens. And in the last video we were discussing his poem of modern poetry. We'll continue with the poem. I am Dr. S.S. Vaidwan, and dear students, welcome to this class. Let us discuss some of the important stanzas in the poem. Let's start from the beginning. Please open your textbook. The poem of mind, in the act of finding what will suffice, it has not always had to find. The scene was set. It repeated what was in the script. So let us discuss these first 4 lines of the poem. Here we have 2 or 3 difficult words. Suffice, suffices, sufficient. Then we have script. Script, you all know, script is the original writing, handwriting. That is the original work or writing. Now, as you all know, in this poem, the poet, he finds it difficult for the modern poets to write following the old set of rules that were designed and developed by the old poets. The poet, he says that now the modern world has its own problems, it has its own situations, and the modern writers, they should evolve new norms for writing poetry. So the poet, he says that now the world has evolved and it has replaced the old rules set by the old poets. The modern poets, he says, they live in a different world. It is now a mechanized world. It is now a modern industrial world. And we should also set the rules of writing according to the modern world. The poet, he wants to express the ideas that are emerging in the mind of a modern poet. The poet, he says, is unable to follow the rules set by the old school of writing. The new modern writer, he expresses his ideas in the modern language, and for this he needs his own set of rules, and the poet is hopeful. He hopes that the new rules will express the ideas of this modern world, contemporary world, in a better way. He wants to set his own rules for his expression, for his ideas to be carried out to the public, to the reader, to the audience. He says that the old way of writing, the old fashion of writing, it doesn't suit the modern thought. So the modern writer, modern poet, he has to give away these rules and he has to carve out new rules, because the old rules, they cannot express the ideas which the modern poet wants to convey. The modern poet, he says, might have some new ideas to convey or might not have some new ideas to convey, but the form of writing poetry is different now. He may be repeating the ideas, but he certainly wishes to adopt a new way of expression. The ideas might be old, that have been previously expressed, but the way of expressing them is different. The way of expressing these ideas is new. So the modern poet, he's can describe, he can say, he can present his innovation of expressing his ideas in a new form, in a new technique. So, in the first stanza, the poet Wallace Stevens bring to us all these things, that the old rules are now a thing of past. Let us now go to the next stanza. Then the theatre was changed to something else. Its past was a souvenir. It has to be living, to learn the speech of the place. It has to face the men of the time and to meet the women of the time. It has to think about war, but in a new way. So let us find out why the poet has used the word theatre. Theatre, as you all know, is a building where plays are staged. Again, it has a new meaning also, because now the plays, they are staged on a modern world. Then another word important is souvenir. Souvenir is a piece that reminds to us something of the past. A decorative piece could be a book, could be a painting, could be a magazine. Then another important word is construct. So the poet here has used this word construct to build, to carve out some new norms. So let us discuss the stanza. The poet, he says that now the circumstances have changed. We are living in a modern society, we are living in a modern world, and the old values, they have depleted. The new themes have come up. We are now talking about the internet. We are now in a modern industrialized world. We are talking about motor cars, motorcycles. So, in the world of Shakespeare, there was nothing mechanical. Everything was natural. In the world of Wordsworth, everything was natural. Nothing was mechanical. So, the poet, he says, now the circumstances have changed, the problems have changed, and the modern society have their own problems, they have their own ideas, they have their own interest. So, a modern poet should keep in mind about his contemporary world, and he should follow and carve out new rules to express these ideas and the problems of society, of men and women. The poet, he says that poetry, it deals with old issues. Okay, no problem. The ideas could be old, but the form of expression is new. The poetry of the past has become a souvenir. So the word souvenir is used for the poetry of the old times. The new poets, they describe the problem and difficulties of modern men and women. The writers, they should present the solutions of their problems, of the problems of the contemporary men and women, contemporary society, that is the modern men and women. He says that war, the other word used by the poet is war, and he says that war is a terrible thing and it is a reality. In Stephen's time, he himself had witnessed the two world wars. So says wars are always destructive and they bring destruction. But the modern poet, he has a different point of view of expressing his ideas about war. There are, he says, a few writers who are affected by this war. and that is why they express the destructive phase of war. War only brings destruction. He says this idea of destruction is old, but the modern poet, he is using his expression, his form of writing poetry in a new sense, and he is expressing his ideas in a new light about war. So the destruction and the difficulties brought by war, the modern writer, they are dealing with these problems, and they are trying to find out a solution to this problem, and that is why they are expressing their ideas in a new form. The new poetry, the poet says, should satisfy the taste of the modern reader, modern audience who is listening, who is reading to the modern poets. It has to be set in the modern background, in the modern world, in the contemporary world, and not in the world of bygone days. If a modern poet, he is successful in expressing his ideas in the modern world, using the modern background, using the modern uh, set of rules, then he will certainly be accepted by the readers, by the people who take interest in reading poetry. So, dear students, uh, I hope you have understood the poem well, and we'll discuss another poem by Wallace Stevens in the next video. Thank you very much.